All right, so what we've got now is this pattern that we've been using the triangular grid for. And then what I want to do next is I want to show you how to scale it or rotate it, however you want to do that. And then we'll look at combining all of these and trimming them and doing some things like that. So simple part, this one is going to be a scale. So I'm just going to double click and do a scale here. And the geometry we want to scale is the curve. So I'm going to pick that geometry and put it in there. And the center, we're going to use the same center, right, that we developed from that bounding box. So we want to scale it from there. So I'm just going to take that as the center. And then the factor, let's Control C, Control V, this slider up here. And we can pull the factor in. And now you can see, right, it's scaling up and down there. And then we can just take that geometry and push it into there and start to get that kind of situation. And now it's dynamic. All right. So the next thing I want to do is, like, what if we wanted to trim all of these out potentially and hatch all of the centers without any lines, or have that as an option for some graphics when we get into Adobe Illustrator. So let's go ahead and do that. So what we're going to use for that is a region union, right here. So I'll come in and double click, and let's do region union. There it is. Control, it's under intersection shape, right? And so what I can do is I can take this geometry and just plug it into there, right? And then if I hide, let's go ahead and unpreview all, that's what you want. So if you take a look at the panel, right, what it's doing, and you have to kind of get used to looking at the data here, is it's taking each one of those and doing it, and then the next one and doing it, and the next one and doing it, and the next one and doing it. But if we flatten this, so if I flatten it as opposed to graph it, that makes it all one big list. It just does it to all of them, right? So it takes all of those and joins them into one piece. So again, it's kind of up to you. You could even do something like, if I do a list item, right, and let's unflatten this, and if I do a list item and take this into my list item, it's going to give me the first item in the list and the second item in the list, and I can actually kind of plus this out. So if I do a curve here, it will split each one of those guys into, there's curve 3, curve 2, and curve 1. And it's basically just picking 0, 1, or 2, right, and giving it out. And then I could actually, instead of doing all of the curves, I could pull that in there and then just pull that in there. And now I'm getting just those two curves unioned, and that one's left out. But it's kind of up to you. So if I pull this in, again, it does each one individually, but if I flatten it, it comes in and gives me all of those as a flattened piece. So there's lots of different options, and it's all based on how you manipulate the list. So once you have that, we can do a pattern hatch, right? And so that's kind of straightforward. I'm going to pull out, let's do this guy. The boundaries obviously would be, let's go ahead and pull this over here. You could do this guy, right? Boundaries, right? And let's do a different pattern. There's a different pattern. And then you could do the scale. Maybe I just Control C, Control V this guy over here, right? You can adjust the scale and the angle as well. So if I do the scale, I can make that larger or very small. And then I could also, let's go ahead and make this like 90 max, right? And make sure the angles are set to degrees right here, and plug that in, and now you can adjust the angle of those, right? So once you have all of this done, go ahead and you can clean up your definition, which I'll show you in the next video. So the next video we'll do the grouping and the baking.